Everyone, thank you for joining me for The Way It's Told, a podcast about people and their passions. Today, I have two guests on the show today that's super passionate about music, and it's leading them to big things. They've got a lot in common, but they've actually never met before, so I'm super excited to have them on the show and to talk about all things music. And those guests today are Brooks Kidd and Zach Day. Zach Day is coming in to us from Nashville, right?
Yeah, yep, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee.
From Nashville, Tennessee. He's doing some big stuff there. And so we're just sitting around here having a conversation. Thank you guys so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, always, anytime. Now, guys, I'm going to just dive right in. Both of you guys are from Kentucky, right?
True.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with you, Brooks, since you're right here in front of me. Tell me a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and kind of how you've got to where you are right now.
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't know, I'm from London, Kentucky, which is kind of this like medium-sized town, would you say?
Yeah.
It's pretty like, yeah. But I never really had a whole lot of experiences for the arts, and like I had a couple things, but I never thought about being on American Idol. And then I saw a couple of my friends audition, and like, oh, they pressured me into do it, and like, you should do this, man. And I was like, I don't know, but I took a chance, and it turned out well, and I got to be on the show. So
That's great. And what about you, Zach? You're also from Kentucky. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm from a little town called Stearns. It's actually not too far from London, Kentucky, so I've spent some time over there. My mom used to work at the hospital in Corbin, Kentucky, so I'm familiar with the area. Yeah, I grew up there, and then I went to EKU and graduated from there in 2019. And then I was filming The Voice like my last semester of classes at EKU, so I was like back and forth between EKU and like filming for the show for like the entire semester. And then when I graduated, I moved to Nashville and watched myself on national television from my new home. And it was really crazy to just kind of move here before anything even aired on TV. I was already living in Nashville, so it's been crazy, but yeah, it's cool. It's different than Kentucky, and I miss Kentucky all the time. Always has a special place in my heart, for sure.
Definitely. Now, how was it like going from Kentucky, and you guys have been, is it Hollywood? Have you been to Hollywood?
yeah.
Have you been to Hollywood
Yeah.
too? Oh my gosh, guys. So how was it like to kind of grow up and maybe do a little bit of music in Kentucky and then stand in front of the judges of, say, the American Idol or The Voice and have to sing? How did that feel? And you could go first, Brooks, if you'd like to see right here. We'll go with you first.
All
You're
right.
the lucky contestant today.
All right. Oh my gosh, it's insane. And I had never been I'd never been to Hollywood before, so I had no idea what was gonna happen. And I got off the plane at LAX, just like the song. Off the plane at LAX.
Yes, the Miley
But-
Cyrus there.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, but and it was insane. It was just like a completely different world out there. Like there's buildings that are taller than 5 stories.
Yeah, we don't have much of those around here, do we?
No. But just to like meet them, it was so surreal and like so crazy just to experience that and to get their feedback, because these are like Grammy-winning artists who are killing the game right now. Like Katy Perry was on at Super Bowl. Like hello, it's crazy, and she was standing right there. But it was really surreal.
And what about you, Zach?
Yeah, so I grew up singing, and like I've said it before in other like interviews and stuff, but like me and my friends used to skip the bus to like teach each other how to play guitar and sing like old music like Dolly Parton songs and the Carpenters and like Mamas and the Papas and Fleetwood Mac and stuff like that. So we would always just like sing with each other and teach each other how to play instruments and stuff. And so we started performing a little bit in high school, but nothing crazy. Literally, like we started a YouTube channel or something, and then I think we would play at like restaurants in town or like the fair or talent shows and stuff like that. And actually, a really funny story is that the first time I was ever on a plane or ever in California or LA or whatever it was, whenever I did American Idol when I was 18 or 19 as well. So that was my first time ever on a plane and ever in LA. So it was, very similar feelings. I was by myself, you know what I mean? I just hopped on the plane and was really scared. And I was sitting next to these random people and I was like, I've never been on a plane. Can I sit by the window? And they were like, sure. And so I was just so excited. And but my judges when I was on Idol was Keith Urban, Jennifer Lopez, and Harry Connick Jr. It was a few years ago. And I got to go to Hollywood for that. And it was amazing. It's such a cool opportunity. But I left there feeling really confident in my skills. And I was like, oh, man, I got this. So, after that opportunity and after that, really cool experience, I came back and I was ready to just really focus on making the best music that I could and writing so much music. So I left feeling super, super inspired. And then I didn't do another thing like that, another reality show or anything like that until The Voice called me for season 18, which was, my most recent venture into the reality TV world, to say the least. But I was doing a lot of work between that time, trying to prepare to just be the best artist I could be.
Yeah, so one of the things that I know Brooks is doing, you're a music major, right? At Eastern Kentucky University.
Yeah.
So how was it like coming back from an experience like the American Idol and coming and stepping into Richmond, Kentucky and being okay, I'm ready. I'm going to take this on. So how was that?
Yeah. It was really weird just because I got home from Hollywood and I was like, oh, we're back at school now. And I'm like, oh, but they also can't know. Because one of their things is I can't tell anybody. So I'm just sitting there y'all don't know what's about to happen.
That I could not keep a big secret like that. Did you have to keep a secret like that, Zach?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You kind of sign a lot of paperwork while you're on the show that says, if you tell anyone, you're in trouble. So, yeah, it's pretty tough. Oh,
man, I would say so. Wow, I did not know that. But so...
Yeah.
That's crazy. So what other things, both of you have been on American Idol and Zach, you've been on The Voice. What are some of the things that people may not know about reality TV shows and the American Idol experience and The Voice experience? What are some things there? And I'll start with you, Zach. What are some things we might not know? Stuff that you experienced and was I did not expect that.
Well, okay. I have two pretty wild experiences when it comes to the shows that I was on. So American Idol, like I said, I was 18 or 19, and the reason I even went to the initial audition was because I was at vacation at Walt Disney World, and they used to have a ride or an attraction, I guess, called the American Idol Experience, and it's a day-long version of American Idol. So I was there with some friends, and they're like, oh, you have to go do that, just see what they say or whatever. It'll be fun. And I did it, and I ended up winning. And if you win that competition, you get a free pass to, be one of the first to audition at the initial rounds of American Idol. And so I won that, and I was like, okay, cool. I guess I'll go. You know what I mean? I've got this pass to the front of the line. And so, yeah, and one thing people might not know is that there's a lot more to it than what you see on TV, at least in my experience. I mean, it might have changed now, but in all the experiences that I've had with these shows, it's it's not just you go and you're right there in front of these famous, singers that you've looked up to your whole life. No, it's the first couple months is just you singing for people that you've never seen before, and just random producers and casting agents and stuff like that. And there's a lot more that goes into it than just singing for these famous people and then being yeah, you're really good. It's well, the network has a lot to say too, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so like how many people did you have to kind of go through before you got to the big audition?
For me, for American Idol, I don't know. It was literally like 3 or 4 different people.
Oh,
I mean,
wow.
it was pretty wild. But I think it was on a different network than the one that Brooks. I think Brooks, you what ABC, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Mine, I think, was when it was still on Fox
Oh,
or
wow.
something. So it was still like pretty. I mean, it was like, but it was so crazy because it was like all these new things. Like when I first made it to Hollywood, like they flew us there or whatever, and then they made it look like we got off the airplane and walked into this big like open airplane hangar, and they're like, and then we're like, what's going on? And then Ryan Seacrest is like, hey everybody, so just so you know, these contestants just hopped off the plane, but they might have to turn around and go back home before they even get to experience Hollywood. And we're like, we had low-key already been there for like 2 days, but they made it look like we had been like, just got off the plane or something. But that was really weird. It was just like, yeah, I think that my season, they were kind of experimenting with like taking it in a new direction. Yeah, but it was really fun. And then as far as The Voice goes, my other experience with that was like I got an Instagram DM or something from some casting producer that was like looking for people to audition for The Voice, and they were like, "We're having auditions in Louisville. Do you want to come?" And like it's like a private audition, like you can skip the initial cattle call or whatever. And I was like, kind of like. Didn't know if I wanted to do it, but I had a friend that made it really far a couple seasons before that, and I was just like, well, I guess if she made it far, then maybe I can too. Like, what do I have to lose? So yeah, I went to the audition, and you know, a few months later, I was in front of the celebrity coaches.
That's awesome. And you did this while you were a student at Eastern Kentucky University, right?
Yeah, The Voice. I mean, I think my initial audition was in the summer, and then like by the time I finished rapping for the show, I had finished an entire another semester of school. It was like 6 to 7 months of filming. Yeah.
Goodness. And what about you? Were you still a student while you were going through this process?
Oh yeah, I was actually so it all happened in the winter of last year. So gosh, I went to Nashville in November, and then I went to Hollywood in December, and actually I got on the plane the day after finals.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
I went from final exam to singer's exam at American Idol. Like
Talk about pressure and exam anxiety.
oh my gosh.
Oh my God, yeah.
And so you guys are very passionate about music even before you were on these shows. Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about your story. What made you be drawn to music? And I'll start with you, Brooks, if that's okay.
Yeah. So, you know, I grew up in church, and like we sang there all the time, and I would always sing in like the choirs and sing solos. And I grew up in theater, and that's when I really like was like, oh my gosh, like this is so much fun. I want to do this like forever. And so once I found that, I kind of started to go into solo music and like, you know, find repertoire from pop artists and like, you know, crazy people, crazy like famous people. And so I remember I went to this like I got to this really dark place mentally, and music was really the thing that pulled me out of that. And the song that I auditioned with, Mad World, was actually the song that helped me out with that. And so it felt really good to be able to sing that in front of them and to be able to like showcase not only my voice but also like what I went through and like how you can overcome all those obstacles.
And I believe when you had your audition, they said this was an experience.
Oh my gosh.
And you could feel that even on television. So I think you did such a great job of showing that emotion and showing people that. So I applaud you for that. And Zach, you have a similar story, don't you?
Yeah. I think that for both of us, I mean, yeah, when you're growing up in Kentucky and like we're both from like really small town, it's going to be similar experiences as far as like you're kind of first introduced to music. In our case, I think like through church and through singing at family reunions and stuff like that. Of course, that's what we did. And I just remember like my aunt, my mom's sister, she used to play piano at the church. And so I would like, as a baby, I would like walk up there and just sit beside her at the piano while she played. And I would try to like play along, and like, it was probably really bad and distracting, but I'm glad that they let me just kind of sit there and like experiment. Cause it wasn't like I was like banging on it, trying to make noise. I was really trying to kind of like follow her a little bit. And that was, I remember that stuff fondly. But yeah, I mean, once I started playing guitar and picking up instruments when I was like 16, and writing songs and stuff, that's when I was like, okay, like this is cool. I can probably really do this. And I've been pretty passionate about it ever since. But hard. It's a hard world. It's a mad world, like you said.
Yeah, and I think it's amazing how music can really touch you, like in places that, like you said, it brought you out of a really dark place in your life. A lot of people find music when they're going through something. And you said Mad World was the song that kind of spoke to you and brought you out of that place.
It was.
Awesome. Well, what about you, Zach? Do you have any music that really spoke to you in your time in your life that may have brought you through something?
Oh yeah, I mean, like growing up, I was listening to like a lot of oldies and stuff like that. And like I said, my parents were really, they loved Mamas and the Papas, Fleetwood Mac, the Carpenters, and really it's interesting that I'm really drawn to these female artists and singers that are women and writers that are women. Joni Mitchell, Carole King, like all those greats. I was always really drawn to them, and their lyrics and their stories always spoke to me. I'm the only boy in my family. I have all sisters, and I have, and my aunt, like I said, my mom's sister, and then her kids are girls too. So I've always just been raised around like girls and women, and so I've always been really inspired by women. And then I remember the first album that I ever got was Baby One More Time by Britney Spears. And it was on cassette tape. Yeah, it was on cassette tape, and I played that over and over and over again. And then my mom also, the first CD that I ever got that was mine was Britney Spears' fourth album, I think. It's just called Britney. It's her self-titled one. It has Played For You on there. And like, I was just like, okay, I love this. Like, it's just funny, like, coming from, like, Joni Mitchell and, like, folk music to, like, pop princess, like, Janet Jackson, Britney Spears, Madonna. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy. I just draw inspiration from a lot of different places.
Yeah, I think music is a journey. Like, even, like, you're finding your voice because you guys are musicians, but you also kind of grow in your taste as you grow up, and it's just an interesting experience. It really is. There's nothing like it. And Brooks, you're a music major, right? What did you major in, Zach? I know you graduated. What year did you graduate from Eastern Kentucky University?
I graduated from EKU in 2019, and my degree is in American Sign Language.
Awesome.
But I did a lot of, I actually went to Morehead State University for a couple years before I transferred to EKU, and I was doing music there. But I was just going to do I was going to be like a choir teacher or whatever, a choir director. And I did that for like 2 years, and I was like, I just don't want to do this. Like, I want to be a rock star instead. And so I was like, I'm just going to I wanted to find a way to, I didn't want to study music in school and then do music constantly, like when I wasn't in class. I kind of wanted something to do, like something different when I was in school. So it was like a total opposite. I was doing sign language where I would be in class all day and not use my voice at all. I would just communicate via sign language. And then at night I would go play shows at Madison Garden and Paddy Wagon, and up in Lexington I would be playing shows every weekend. And it was exhausting, but it was cool to have that differentiation in what I was doing.
Yeah. How was it taking and doing sign language? How did you incorporate that into your music?
It was really interesting because I mean, I have a lot of friends that are deaf, and that were a lot of my friends when I was in school were deaf. So it was interesting writing songs and thinking about, oh, how would I translate and interpret this song for my deaf and hard of hearing friends. And it was also really cool. Like anytime I would play my music and my deaf friends wanted to come watch my show, one of my hearing friends or some interpreter would be able to come and be sure that they could enjoy the music as well.
That's great.
Yeah, it was really cool to incorporate that. I wish I could play my guitar and use sign language at the same time, but unfortunately, I can't do that. I have two hands, but you know what I mean? If I could, I would.
Totally. And it's great that you were so inclusive and you had that experience with the sign language and to incorporate it into music that many people would never really imagine there's a place for sign language at. And so that's really great.
Yeah, most definitely.
And you, Brooks, you're, like I said, a music major here. What kind of things are you doing at school, and how did maybe majoring in music really inspire you to get where you're at right now?
Yeah. Well, I'm studying like this semester I'm taking American music. And so we're studying like everybody from Elvis to Michael Jackson to Billie Eilish to everybody.
I love that.
And so it's really cool to get to see them and then like actually sometimes read about like the judges that I got to be in front of. So
fun.
like, that's crazy. But yeah, just to be here. One thing I will say though is it is a completely different like repertoire. Like I'll be singing some Latin piece and I'm like, you can't sing that on American Idol. Like, I could go up there and be like Pie Jesu and or sing some Frare from French. But I really like both styles, which is really cool. So I kind of get both ends.
Great. So if you had to like pick one thing, what would it be?
Oh, between like classical and pop?
Yeah, like like if you could only sing one song, like if you had to get up in front of the world and sing one song to like really go for it, what would you sing?
One song?
Yeah.
Ooh. That is a really difficult question. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's hard.
Oh.
You'll be thinking about it too, Zach. I'm going to ask you. Don't think you're going to get out of it.
Oh. Honestly, I would say Mad World still, because that song really connects with me personally, and like I relate to the lyrics to that song, and it really brought me out of a hard time, and it described exactly how I was feeling in that moment.
That's great.
And
That's great. What about you, Zach?
If I could only sing one song right now, or like for the world or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe I would do like Coat of Many Colors by Dolly Parton or something like
I
that.
love
It's just
some Dolly Parton.
Yeah, I've always thought that's such a beautifully written song. It's a story, and it's just like sweet and reminds me of home. So I guess, although I don't know if I would sound good singing it, but whatever.
I'm sure you would sound great. I've seen you play live here at EKU. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? And
yeah, a couple weeks
I
ago.
enjoyed it so much. I've not got to listen to Zach or to Brooks though, so maybe we'll have a chance to do that before this is over. So let's talk a little bit on a serious note here. If there's somebody out there that maybe they sing in the shower, maybe they have a voice and they love music, but they're afraid to put their voice out there, what would you guys tell those people? Maybe they're going through something and they have that song that they really hold on to. And I'll start with you here, Brooks. What would you tell them?
yeah, I definitely tell them. Actually, I can see you.
Yeah.
I would tell you all that I was the kid that sang in the shower, and I really only sang at church and then sometimes at theater, and then choir, but I never was in the forefront. And you'll never know until you actually try. And I don't think it can ever hurt to try and just put it out there. The hardest step is honestly just that first leap. And once you get across that, it's a really nice field.
And what about you, Zach? What would you tell people that are trying to find their voice? Maybe they're from small town Kentucky. They have this passion in them for music, but they've not quite been confident enough to step out into that identity. What would you say to them?
I would say similarly. I would just say, like, if you have a passion for it, then lean into it and do everything you can to learn as much as you can about it. Like, I would just say, like, do your homework, like, listen to, like, all different types of music so that you can draw inspiration from the people that have already made their careers doing this. I would say, try to learn an instrument if you can, try to write songs if you can. And then I would just say surround yourself with people that can encourage you to go for your dreams and your goals, and that will lift you up and support you. You need that. You definitely can't do it alone. And it's going to take a lot of dedication and hard work, because a lot of people can sing, but if you really want to do it, you kind of have to really put in the work. So if you have that support and the passion and the drive, then there's nothing that can stop you.
I think that's super inspiring. I'm glad you guys shared that. Now, you guys, of course, your American Idol and The Voice time is over for you guys for now, but you guys are doing some big stuff anyway, which is super awesome. Tell me a little bit about that. And again, I'll start with you, Brooks.
Yeah. Gosh, this year is insane. And like this summer, I've got like shows every weekend somewhere. It's so busy, but I love it. So I'm doing that. And gosh, I'm playing at Lexington Legends and I get to sing the national anthem. I'm talking to some people about doing some other extra things that's coming soon. Haha. But I have 2 songs out on Spotify. One being Mad World, the song that I sang on the show, and the other is an original.
Awesome. And what about you, Zach? What are you doing? I know you're in Nashville, big place for the music industry.
Yeah, I kind of moved to Nashville after my my show time was over. Like, after I got eliminated, I moved here before anything aired, and it just so happened that it kind of coincided with when COVID-19 started. So I like moved here right at the top of the pandemic, and it was really sad because I was like booked out. Like, I booked myself out. Like, I was really busy, and then a lot of things got canceled. Like, I was set to be like, I don't know, I had all kinds of really cool stuff happening, but it's all good because things are picking back up now. But and over the last year, I've just been playing so much. But actually, that show at EKU and I had a show the day after that back here in Nashville. Those are my last shows for a little bit. I'm actually going to take a little time off from performing. I just signed with some new management, which is really exciting. They are based in Toronto, Canada, and I've been back and forth between Nashville and LA and Toronto, like, just working so hard and like writing music every day and just recording, and just like we're basically just really focused on me getting my record deal. And so we're trying our hardest to just like write, record, and focus on getting what I need by as soon as I can. Just because I've been working so hard, I've been playing so much, and I did have some music out on Spotify, and I think I have a couple songs up on streaming platforms now. But I've taken a lot of that music down because we're about to do like a full rebrand with me, and it's gonna be great. But I'm taking a back seat right now, and I'm just writing, and I've got my head down. So if you don't see me on social media or something for a little bit, it's just because I'm really, really busy. But it's good.
It sounds like you've got some big stuff coming up. And
Yeah.
I'll ask you both this question. How did the pandemic really inspire your music? I know, Zach, you said you kind of like was in Nashville in this new city, and then the pandemic happened. You were kind of like stuck where you are. And where were you at during the pandemic?
I was at home. I was at London. So that was good. School had, shifted to online at this point. And so it was really lonely. I think that a lot of people can relate to that. Just being in isolation where you'll only see like maybe a couple friends 6 feet apart, and then, your family around them the whole time, which is a whole other thing. Love you, Mom. But the but yeah, it really showed me that people at that time were getting to really dark places and the world seemed to be going down. And I was just like, this is the time that we need artists to write and to inspire. And that inspired me to do my own writing and try to speak encouraging words and to write things that people can be comforted by, because that's what I was wanting at the time.
That's great. And Zach, did you do any writing during that time as well?
During the pandemic, I got to be like, I was still making music because I was living in this really nice apartment for free. And so I didn't have to worry about like, I had all this stuff booked, but I was lucky because even though a lot of it got canceled, I was able to just record myself in my apartment and make posts on Instagram a couple times a month. And it really taught me a lot about like using social media to my advantage. And like, I started making TikToks and Instagram videos like every week or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that was a really cool excuse for me to, film myself and get more experience posting on social media.
I think we all in the pandemic had to kind of learn our way through technology in areas we may have never really thought to try. Did you ever, did you have any experiences like that?
Oh, definitely. Because, like, at the beginning of Zoom, oh, gosh, the whole Zoom thing at the beginning, no one knew how to run it. And, like, there were people calling and there were people talking over, and they're like, I'm going to watch TV during class. And all of a sudden, so we're talking about, history. And then all of a sudden, you hear, like, a movie, and I'm like, I don't think Avengers are in the history books. So that's been fun. But I think that's the experience for a lot of people, though.
Yeah, definitely. And as you said with your music, I think during that time people did feel alone, especially when you got into the thick of it. At first we're like, oh, this is going to blow over, and then we're like, oh, this is a part of our life now what? And then we kind of started settling in. But I think it taught us all to, like, it's okay to step back, and it's okay to, like, do things alone and to really step into, like, our own zones. Does that make sense? Like, and I'm sure with music, like, I don't do music, but I write. So I feel like stepping away from all the noise can inspire. And did it inspire you guys?
I definitely feel that way.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I'm not going to lie. Like, whenever I had to be spending so much time alone in Nashville right after I had gone through that crazy experience of having to be, like, filming a television show for like 6 months, and then I moved here like before anything even aired on TV, and then the pandemic happens, and then I'm like alone watching myself like get eliminated on TV, and then like all of my shows are canceled within a few weeks of being here, and then I'm just like, because the pandemic or whatever, and then I'm just like, wow, okay, so this is and I was really depressed for like a while. Like, it was really hard, but then I'm lucky that I got to got that opportunity that I did, and it kept me here. Otherwise I'd probably have moved back home or I don't know what I would have done, honestly. Like, I was considering just moving back to Kentucky and doing whatever, but it can inspire you, though, for sure. And now I've been, like, taking the time to just, like, write music. I mean, I've gotten into I had my little quarantine bay. I had, like, all these different relationships and all this good stuff that was going on during that time that, like, has inspired me to write music. I don't know. I write best when I'm, like, going through it or, like, in love with somebody or, like, breaking up with somebody. So that's when I'm, like, inspired the most to write music. I don't know about y'all, but
yeah, I think tragedy and drama, it's when you're in the thick of it, I feel like as creators, it's how we vent, it's how we get it out and work through it, and unfortunately it's for the whole world to see as a creator,
right?
But
and that's pretty traumatic in itself, you know what I mean? Like, I have to be careful not to exploit all of my private, like, personal, intimate details about my life because I will, and I've been known to, I've been known to just like call out these people in my songs. So y'all just beware, I guess.
We love a good name drop.
Oh yeah. I mean, come on, talk about drama and getting people to listen to your song. Be like, oh wait, hold on, who is he talking about now? Like,
Exactly, right.
I've run a couple of those.
So tell us a little bit, Brooks, about the song that you just wrote. What inspired that, and tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the song that I wrote is called I Wonder, and it's a song about the Titanic. Just kidding. But there is an allusion to the
Ooh, I
Titanic.
love that.
The main line is like about Jack and Rose and how like it was so tragic. And recently, like, there's just been events that have like lined up with that I really resonated with, and I was like, how can I put this into a song? And so I basically created this entire analogy between Jack and Rose, and then me, and then different situations in life, different people, loss, and just pain. And so how in the movie it's just tragic, and that's how I was really feeling, and so I wanted to put that into a song and kind of, like you said, vent into music, and that's really how I was able to get that out.
That's beautiful, and we look forward to seeing that. And tell us a little bit, Zach, about what you're currently doing and writing, and tell us, can you give us some details?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think I told you that I'm like just writing like every day, just trying to like expand my chops. And I just spent an entire month in Toronto. I was up there recording with this really dope producer. His name is Alex, but I think his production name is Pillsbury. And he's really cool, and he's got a couple like really amazing some songs out. But anyway, I don't know how much I can talk about all of that good stuff, but I can tell you that we've been writing a lot of good stuff, and then even since I've been back in Nashville, I've been writing a lot too. And I don't know, I guess the song I wrote like a couple days ago is called PlayStation. And it's about like, one of the lines in it is like, turn on the box that lives under my bed and make sure the TV's plugged in. I have an extra controller, I think, but I have no clue where it is. And then I'm like, you could just make me some dinner, and we could use cheat codes for cash. And I could forget that you left me for 3 effing months and then came crawling back. And then I'm like, if we lived in if we lived in a game, if we lived a PlayStation life, then we could like build this perfect life, like if we were on The Sims or whatever. That's kind of like the vibe that I was going in with that song.
I
love thank you. Yeah, I love to write songs about like something that you're going to be like, oh, it's called PlayStation. I'm really curious what this is about. And then I drop like a line like that people are like, oh, okay, this is serious. Okay, I see.
I think being relatable is so important in creating and in music. I mean, it's like you with the Titanic. Everybody knows who what the Titanic is, and they're totally going to resonate with that. And this stuff with the PlayStation, like everybody can relate to that. That's just great.
Right.
And like turning it seriously, like you guys are doing some great stuff. Like I'm excited to see. And you guys are from Kentucky. Like, hey, like we got some awesome stuff happening in Kentucky too. Like, don't judge us too hard.
And I always make sure to like, anytime someone asks, like, I don't know, I think some people move to Nashville or move away from Kentucky or wherever they're from, and then they like adopt they're like, no, I'm from Nashville. It's like, no, like I always am like, I'm a Kentucky singer-songwriter. Like, I'm a Kentucky boy, and sometimes you have to just see what other places have to offer you. But at the end of the day, I'm a Kentucky boy at heart, and I always make sure to bring that back. I have a lot of pride in Kentucky. So.
That's great. And what about you? You went to Hollywood and stuff? I don't know about you guys, but anytime I travel, I have people be like, I love your accent and all that. Did you guys ever get that when you traveled?
I never personally got that, but I know a lot of people that did. But I will say that one thing that happened, and oh my gosh, I can't believe they aired this, but like I told Katy Perry, like, I'd never been outside of Kentucky, and I thought she meant live, and I was like, oh, oh, you mean have I ever been outside Kentucky? And I was like, yeah, of course I've been outside. But that did not make it in the cut.
Oh,
in the show.
no.
And so I'm just like, as the show is airing, there's pictures of me in Alaska. And I'm like, I've only ever been in Kentucky.
It's fine. This just proves to you anybody can paint themselves how they want to in this media world. It's crazy. It's a crazy world we live in these days. But yeah, so what would you guys say was the best thing that you pulled out of your experiences of being on American Idol, being on The Voice, and all the craziness that comes with it? I'll start with you, Zach.
For me, I think that I would just say the friendships that I've made through these opportunities have been really awesome. Like, there's a couple folks that I still talk to even from my American Idol auditions and all that time, which was like, I don't know, almost 10 years ago now. And then like for my Voice, the time that I was on The Voice, we were with the same people for probably like, I don't even know, like 6 months or something. It was a long time. So like you get to be really, really close with these folks. And like I have a friend that I met on The Voice that's coming to stay with me in Nashville in a couple weeks, and like, he lives all the way in Portland. So I just like I've got like connections all over the place now just because of the time that I've spent on those shows. And also just like having the support of for me personally, like I was on John Legend's team when I was on The Voice, and so I got to work really closely with him. And he still, follows me on my social media and will, every now and then I'll get like, he'll like one of my videos or comment on one of my videos. And I think that that's really special because like, I know that some of the other coaches don't do that, but I know that John, like he really keeps up with his artists. And so whenever he likes one of my videos, I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, it's coach approved. Like he approves of it. So that means that it must be pretty good. And like, I know some other people that were on our team that actually reach out to him and send him music and ask him for advice, and he's always willing to respond and make sure that we're doing okay. And like that is something that is really, really special from the opportunity. So yeah, just the connections that you make, I think.
What about you?
The food. I'm just kidding. No, but I completely agree with what you said, Zach. The friendships that you make in the show is insane. Because to me, it never felt like a competition. It felt like just a group of singers, and we get to all perform in front of 3 insane, crazy talented people. And I still talk to people from Houston, from Canada. Like, I met a guy from Maine who was in Nashville, and I was like, why are you in Nashville? Why are you auditioning here? But anyways, they were all so nice, and like everybody there is super chill and like super down to earth, which is not what I was expecting. I was expecting, a bunch of hotheads, those people would definitely exist, but I really didn't see any of that, which was really surprising to me. And that made me feel better because that means that we're all like-minded musicians who just want to do what we love. It was really comforting to be there and be around everybody.
That's great. And that's great to hear.
I love that.
Yeah.
Hey, did you get to sing for Lionel Richie?
I did.
That's like a dream of mine. I'm like so jealous of that.
It was so surreal.
That's really cool.
Oh my gosh. But like, I remember walking into the filming room and like, I walk out, I'm getting ready to open the doors, and I'm like so scared. I open the door and I make direct eye contact with Lionel Richie, and he's like, come on in. And I'm like, okay.
That's so cool.
As you wish.
Oh, what a dream. Oh my God, that's so cool. I love that.
Gosh, but you singing for John Legend? Like, hello? Oh my gosh.
Cool. John is cool, but like Lionel Richie is kind of legendary. Not kind of, he is. He's legendary. Like, these are all like really, really successful people, but like someone like Lionel Richie, wow, that's iconic. That's really cool.
John Legend is legendary.
No
pun
yeah,
intended.
I guess.
I love it. And so guys, like what is what is your goal? Like, I know you guys are both climbing the ladder of success, one step at a time. What is your dream now that you've already lived a dream, but what's the next step?
For me, I would say my dream is to just be successful and just be, be able to tell my story and have people enjoy it. And I would love to just be able to do music full time and not have to worry about like paying my bills any other way. I do want to be like, I do want to like change the world with my music, but that's the big goal, I guess, is to change the world with my music and my voice. But, that takes time. So at the moment, I just want to set my goal at, let's just be successful at what we're doing. And I just want to see the fruits of my labor, like, as soon as I can, because I've been working so hard, and like, I think it's time. And I'm still going, but it's exhausting, man. It's hard work. So, but I'm doing it. I look around me, and I'm like looking out my window, and I'm just like, dang, like, Zach, you've worked really hard for this. And like, this is all because of the time that you took to learn music. And like, this is all just because of your talent. So I do have to take some steps back sometime and just like, wow, like, be grateful where I'm at and that I've worked really hard for this. So, yeah, that's it.
And what about you, Brooks? Where do you see yourself going?
Oh my goodness. We all have that big dream of, playing like the craziest shows and, playing the craziest venues. But honestly, like, right now, the dream is just to be able to, I really want to just be able to be self-sustainable, like what Zach said. I really just want to be able to make a living doing what I love doing and just being creative and having fun. And, like, personally, I don't want to work a desk job, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't like sitting down. So, like, I want to be up and, like, doing something and, making stuff. And with music, I get that. Yeah.
And I think
that's so true. I think about that all the time. I'm just like, I think that there's a part of me, and the older that I get, like, I'm 28 now, and like, the older that I get, the more I think about, like, I kind of start craving stability, and I'm starting to crave this sense of normalcy, and I just want to like settle down with my boyfriend and just like enjoy our lives and just like, you know what I mean? But like, it's not that easy, because like, I could get called to go, start touring tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, there's just something like always going to keep me on the go. And that's awesome, and that's what I want. But then there's also a part of me that's just like, dang, wouldn't it be so much easier if all I wanted to do was just, live my life in peace and happiness? And I don't know. It's hard. It's really, really hard. But success is different to different people. And so, like, some people, if their dream is to just like live like their life and have like a house and have kids and have a relationship and just like work a job that they enjoy, that is awesome. And I kind of sometimes wish that I wanted that. But I guess what I want is just to be more like, I don't know, singing. and that's annoying sometimes, but that's what it is. That's just what I got to do.
And I think that's so important. You guys are following your passion, no matter how hard it may be, what roads that lead you on. You guys are in the thick of it. And I mean, you guys are a reflection of people who said, you know what, I'm going to go for it. And here you guys are, like, you guys were on these crazy talent shows, and you guys are doing big stuff, and people are looking forward. People are watching you. People see you. They see your hard work. So thank you guys so much for being on the show and talking a little bit about your journey and how you've come this far. Now, I do want you guys to tell the audience kind of where can they find your stuff? Where can they follow you? Where can they find the next big thing that you're doing? And I'll start with you, Brooks.
Sure. you can find any events or anything like that, or links to all my social media on my website, which is just brookskid.com, just my name. And yeah, you'll get tour updates, like where I'm going to be playing next, any new songs that release. So really, that's my hub for everything.
And Zach, where can we see your stuff, or do you have a release date of this new album you're working on?
No release date yet, but I'm always posting on social media. Like, I'm posting singing and original songs and covers all the time. You can find all of that on my Instagram, which is Zach, and then my TikTok is Zach Music, and you can also go to zachmusic.com.
Well, thanks again for coming on the show, talking about your all journey, comparing your experiences, and thank you guys for tuning in to The Way It's Told, a podcast about people and their passions and the way they live that in their life. Both Zach Day and Brooks Kid has definitely showed us what passion for music is about, and so thank you for tuning in. Check out their stuff. If you haven't heard them sing, go check it out. You can find this podcast at theeasternprogress.com, on Eastern Progress Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Go check it out. Thank you.